Okay, so I want to point something out here. So this data is all in headquarters right now. Okay, you can see remote, okay, the remote column, it all says no. Whereas on the right side, the remote column, now the directories are not remote, directories are just metadata, right? So those are everywhere. But you can see the actual data, you know, remote is yes. I mean, and in fact, we can descend into the pictures directory with a bunch of stuff, and you'll see all of these are remote, including my Max DS store. So let's watch what happens here when we go to ShotGrid. So I'm just going to go into pictures here. Remember, you've got remote no and remote yes in Azure. And I've got a fake workflow here wherein when I flip something to in progress, I want to move it to Azure. That's what the objective says. So let's do that real quick. You can see over here, let's get into the animation folder. Again, the right side, drive Z is Azure, drive H is headquarters. And one thing you'll notice in my Explorer view is that these look like regular files. That's pretty typical. These actually show that they're offline files. Okay, so there is some sort of signal to the user that there is not a local instance of that data. But that said, I can actually browse, no problem, right? I can do whatever I want in the data over here. It feels nice and snappy. It feels interactive to that user. And you know, let's say I want to just go ahead and open a piece of data that's remote. Okay, this is what I'm going to do first before I fire off the ShotGrid one. So I'm going to open this Apple. Oh, wait, let me open that with I'll probably open it with a different application. You know, my sophisticated VFX application, Paint 3D. We're going to open up Apple and we're going to create some rad visual effects on it. You can see that just opened, right? It was not a local copy of the file. It did take a moment. You saw the application pause, but here it is. Here's our Apple. And let me go ahead and let's make some cool visual effects on it. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to close it and save it. All right. And now what's happening in the background is that the Azure Anvil is letting the headquarters Anvil know that there is a change to that file. I could come in here, I can open that file, and you'll see it pause again because we're pulling down changes. There's my awesome visual effects. Okay. Now, that's cool for on demand. But a lot of times you might have big files or a lot of assets that need to be worked on in the remote site. And you don't want those guys waiting while they're opening all of those dependencies for a scene they're working on or something like that. So let's see what happens here. You know, you could have someone, a human, come in and say, okay, in this animation project, I want, give ShotGrid a moment here. I want a particular sequence, okay? And in this case, any sequence will cause a data move. So I'm just gonna show you this. We can click on we can change the status of a particular sequence. Okay, I'm going to change it to in progress. Remember, in progress is what gets it moved to Azure. So we say in progress, and then over here, you're actually going to see the status change here. You saw it just pop up. You can see the information about the event, and there's a lot of data in this that I can use to create a directory that corresponds to that sequence or shot that I just changed the status of. But you can see down here, we switched from waiting to start to in progress. And let me show you on the Hammerspace UI what's going on right here. It's already aligned. I guess it got ahead of me. This was pretty quick. Now, instead of remote, most of this data now, instead of saying yes, it now says yes cached. Okay, meaning there is a locally cached instance of that data in the Azure site. And so now when I go to the Azure site, let me do a refresh on this. And you'll actually see the offline files indicator go away, right? So now I can open this. Let's open it again. We're going to our awesome VFX application here. I'm opening a new file. This is a different Apple picture. I've got lots of apples because I'm at the top of the alphabet. Let's draw some stuff on here. So, you know, we've got artists doing work now in the cloud. Okay, maybe they're remote artists that are coming in using Teradici or whatever your favorite high performance remote desktop technology is. Let's look at Balloon. We'll do some edits to Balloon. You know, as artists work on this stuff. Let's see here. What color do we want? I think maybe let's go for this lighter, awesome lime green here. All right, so we got some more stuff. Everybody's cringing as I show my excellent artist skills. And now I've got those files modified. And if I come back over to show you what they look like on the Hammerspace side, you can actually see now, although lots of other things are remote, now these things that I edited are starting to show cached. So you can see the system rapidly becomes aware of the remote changes that happen. Okay, and you will also notice, and you'll see, like as our refreshes happen here, you'll start to see, yes, data is starting to become local. Now, now I can go back and I can open these two things. And let's say you've got to make a change in a remote site to just one of these files. Let's open this up and take a look at it. Okay, that's cool. We verified that one is great. And then now let's look at Balloon. Now we actually want to make some more changes to Balloon. So I'm going to open it up on this side, and we'll pick on a different color. We'll get this awesome purple. I'll draw some zigzags. We'll save it again. And now remember, Balloon we changed again, right? And so when this refreshes, you're actually going to see remote no. And then Balloon on the other side is going to say remote yes cached. So the system rapidly deals with these changes. I mean, I haven't seen a system that performs this well. And we can do this because we're in the data path. Okay, a lot of those systems that are sidecars that want to do bidirectional replication, they're getting it done by scanning your file system. You know, they're creating tons and tons of IOPS. Oh, you can actually see this one went out of alignment while we're dealing with data transfer in the backend, based on the edit that I made and based on the tag that was there. But these other systems that are just doing data transfer, they're walking the tree, they're looking for things that are updated, and they're transferring them. We have a big advantage because we can sit in the data path and watch the changes as they happen and very rapidly send them to the other side. So the dependencies on this are not bad, okay? So ShotGrid has an existing event framework. You can download the Shotgun API, and then and that's available in GitHub. You can look in GitHub for the ShotGrid event, or sorry, Shotgun events is what it is called. And then in our case, the dependencies on the Hammerspace side would be the Hammerspace toolkit. And then my repository, when I make it public, it's SGHS. This module in particular is called ShotHammer. I was feeling creative that day. And ShotHammer is the plugin, okay, that the Shotgun event server is using to put custom metadata on the Hammerspace file system. And that custom metadata thing is really cool. Like, you can do it through an API, but you can also do it from a command line tool. Okay, so for example, if we go in here and we're in the H drive, right? So I'm just going to grab one of these. There's a CSV in here called nile.csv that I'm going to look at. So if I do HS tag list for nile.csv, this is this is leveraging the SMB protocol to set this tag. It's using our shadow file system to do so, but this is completely in band in the protocol. Okay, so this isn't some external API call. So we'll do an HS tag list on nile.csv, give it a moment, and it'll show you the list of all the tags on nile.csv. So there we are. There's our SG status list, value equals IP. So consider where you can go with this. Okay, you can drive behavior like, in my animation project, within one shot, I've got different assets that are going to be worked on in different locations. And you can select for that in these objectives. You aren't just confined to tags. Like Douglas said, you can select from any piece of metadata you want. File extension, file path, any of the timestamps, ownership, permissions, all of those things are available to be operated on as objectives. You can even say things that have seen 100 IOPS in the last 48 hours. So you have a lot of ability to determine where data gets placed, and it buys you an almost immediate efficiency increase once you can start doing this on your expensive core storage, where you've got 2 petabytes, where a lot of that stuff hasn't been touched in months. You can do things in Hammerspace like move that data to a cheaper, slower volume. So I actually went a little faster than I expected. I guess we can open it back up maybe for discussion or Q&A.
Yeah, and I think we're running, a bit long, which is fine. This is recorded, so as people drop off, that's okay. But I think it's worth just touching on, from the panel side, any comments on how you see this impacting your workflow, how you'll design this Dave, from your customer side, how you think you'll recommend these kinds of integrations in the future? Jeremy, kind of what you see at Jellyfish on how this might help you, I think would be great to tie up before we wrap the webinar up completely.
Oh, thanks, Molly. I think that it's easy to see through Mike's incredible artistry that how much these kinds of tools can affect how we all work. And I think that's tremendously important to our clients. The fact that this works with existing storage systems, both on-premise and in cloud, is a game changer. And previous attempts at this, which have been based on underlying long-term technologies like GPFS, haven't had the ability that Hammerspace has to kind of look at modern file systems from scratch, both in cloud and on-prem. And that's what's going to allow us as a system integrator to bring these systems up and make them useful for our clients, much more quickly. And I'll let Jeremy speak to this, but I believe that, in his kind of shop, it's a big game changer, because these are the kinds of things that I suspect he was doing before, but in a much more difficult way.
Yeah, like just to kind of, obviously, I think Mike's done a very, very good job of showing basically of everything that Douglas was speaking about, but positively affecting things in a real production world. So we simply can go into the ShotGrid UI or open up a command prompt, and you click a few buttons and run a few commands, and then at that point you don't have to really. Mike wasn't egressing data from one site to another, via Aspera or SFTP or anything like that. It was just automated, if that makes sense. So I think, these sort of like what we've seen today, I believe, is going to have a massive basically effect on how content is created kind of going forward. And especially as we kind of like, there's the search for basically content being created now is never been bigger than it has before now. So I think, anything like this that can do to enhance basically production is going to be, as Dave said, kind of a game changer, just how things taking forward. So I think it's a very, very exciting time. And the collaboration basically with Michael and Douglas and, has also been great. So that's been fantastic.
And I have to thank Jeremy and team for pointing me in the right direction on that integration. Like without their experience with ShotGrid, I probably would have hit a lot more dead ends on the way to this.
So thank you all for joining. Thank you to all of our panelists for your time and your expertise. I'd like to wrap things up saying we'll send a copy of this recording as well as the PowerPoint. Of course, there's links here on the slide which aren't helpful if we don't actually send the slide to you. So if you want to learn more, listen to last month's webinar, which was also visual effects community focused, but it was joined by the Hammerspace experts along with the CTO over at FuseFX and John Weisner, who's a black belt over at the M&E team at Microsoft Azure. You can listen to that. We also have materials. If you need help connecting to a partner, of course, ASG is a great company to partner with. If you need other help on cloud integration partners, Jim Chumas is our head of partners and can help point you in the right direction. Thank you so much for joining, and we hope to see you soon.